Fentanyl has caused more American deaths in a single year than Americans have suffered from our wars with Vietnam, Iraq, and Afghanistan combined. Being informed about what is going on in the world around yours is important, and fentanyl has been a main topic on the news for a very long time. After this speech, you will have gained lots of knowledge about this epidemic. Today, I will be informing you about the fentanyl epidemic and how it has led to policy changes within our government. Firstly, I will discuss what is going on with the fentanyl epidemic. Then I will go into more detail on how this has led to new government policy to prevent it. To start off, we will investigate some information regarding the epidemic. Fentanyl has been a core part in the overdose crisis in the U.S., posing severe risk due to its potency and prevalence in the drug market. Firstly, we must know what fentanyl is and what an epidemic is. Fentanyl is an opioid drug that was first developed as an anesthetic, but has turned into a street drug. It can be used by injection, snorting, smoking, or by a pill. It's also very common for fentanyl to be laced into other drugs like cocaine. Secondly, an epidemic is a widespread occurrence of something that has great effect on many individuals. As we dive deeper into this issue, let's look at some recent insights on the current state of this epidemic. The American Council on Foreign Relations released an article in December of 2023 that provides significant information regarding the topic. They detail that fentanyl is by far the leading cause of drug overdoses in the country, and that it is the leading cause of death for people ages 18 to 45. This demonstrates the extent to which fentanyl is affecting the lives of Americans. It is scary to think that one drug can do so much damage to our society. Next, let's look at what the CDC reported about this epidemic. In April of 2024, the CDC reported that fentanyl has contributed nearly 70% of overdoses nationwide. They state that the reason for this is because fentanyl can be deadly in such small doses, and a lot of these deaths are from fentanyl being disguised or laced in the streets when fentanyl is crushed into powder or turned into liquid, concentrated in the liquid. There's no way to tell the difference between something like fentanyl and cocaine or fentanyl and heroin, leading to these drugs being laced. This leads to it being sold as something completely different and leading to deaths beyond people that are knowingly taking the drug fentanyl. Considering all these facts, fentanyl has all the traits a drug would need to cause a great number of deaths in society. This is a graph made by the CDC, or the Council on Foreign Relations. So you see on the y-axis, you see the number of overdose deaths per year, and you see it gets really high, over 70,000, even though it's gone over 100,000. Then this x-axis, you see the years, and you just see that synthetic opioids, but fentanyl is the leading driver of this epidemic, have just skyrocketed since 2015, and all these drugs just kind of stay pretty stagnant. I mean, you see a little bit of increase, but fentanyl has clearly ran away with this, and it's really a problem. This fentanyl epidemic has led to further governmental policy to prevent the spread of and access to the drug. The government has already begun to take action against the epidemic, and it is already starting to see effects in the streets. Provoked by the harm of the fentanyl epidemic, in July of 2024, the White House released their strategy in tackling it, and it involved lots of policy changes, especially to prevent the distribution of fentanyl into the U.S. and within the U.S. Joe Biden has started to coordinate with Mexico and Canada to stop fentanyl from entering America. This is significant, or he's already started to coordinate with Mexico and Canada, our borders, to stop fentanyl from entering America. This is significant because without fentanyl coming in and out of the United States, we will continue to see less and less overdoses as the accessibility to fentanyl will have diminished. He also said that within the U.S., law enforcement officers will be cracking down on the use of these drugs by doing things like giving them better detectors for fentanyl. Another way he described to help in this call for action is through the citizens of the U.S. being more informed. Biden called for the Director of National Intelligence to constantly release statements and statistics to the public about the current state of fentanyl. Keeping the public informed will make progress through things like preventing these young adults from taking these substances that are commonly laced. If they knew that this substance was commonly laced with fentanyl, they wouldn't take it. These initiatives that Joe Biden has begun to roll out are steps in the right direction to preventing the spread of fentanyl. These policy changes have even already began to fuel a decrease in fentanyl on the streets. During its peak, San Francisco was undoubtedly one of the biggest hubs for fentanyl, as their population of homeless people is very high. NPR, in October of 2024, very recently, reported that they went on the streets of San Francisco to gather data about the spread of fentanyl where it is most prominent. They reported that these drugs are hard to find and more expensive. These claims are very meaningful because making fentanyl come into the country less, which is Joe Biden's plan, will make the price go up on the streets, which is exactly what it's done. They also found, which is very significant, that the potency of fentanyl on the streets has significantly gone down. If the fentanyl is getting weaker, that will lessen overdoses because it will take less of such a fatal drug to kill someone. In conclusion, today I have informed you on the fentanyl crisis and how it has led to further change in government policy. Together, we need to commit to furthering the prevention of epidemics like fentanyl that have such detrimental impacts on the U.S. Thank you.